hopefully I am live. Let me get my computer set up here. Okay. Time seems off. It was off. I didn't have that set properly. So, welcome to another Monday night hangout shop BS session. You only get me tonight, no Wesley tonight. So, hopefully the chat keeps me moving and keeps me motivated tonight. Man, we had a lot of orders come through over the weekend for high-lows, so both Wesley and I have been slammed busy all day today trying to get those orders produced and shipped and ready to go. So, yeah, just been busting ass all day today. Been here since about 7 o'clock this morning. It's 8 o'clock at night now, and I'm going to be here for a couple more hours. So, and then back at it first thing tomorrow morning. So, what's up, everybody? All is well. Yep, I had a relaxing weekend out of town over the weekend, and came back to a lot of work and a lot of things to do. So, yeah, pretty good all in all. Yeah, Wesley bailed on me tonight, so you guys just get me. Sorry. Hopefully that's okay. So we can talk about the high-low release a little bit. We can talk about, I got that Fusion. I finally drove the pace setter with the Fusion motor in it. So we can talk about my initial reaction to that Hobbywing Fusion motor, which I only was able to run on 3S. Yeah. Oh, this is the pace setter. This has the normal stuff in it. Oh, a little farther over. Here's the one with the Fusion in it. Trying to get all the bits from the SCX Pro to finish getting my Oracle up and running. Are you building it from scratch, building it from parts, or are you building it from a kit? I assume by that comment that you're building it from parts. If so, yeah, some of those parts are a little difficult to find. But so, anyway, we can talk about this now. So I got the Fusion installed. It's the 2300 kV Fusion setup. And I've got stock spur and pinion in it now. And it fits perfectly in there. It touches the transmission and it touches the upper link. But it's in there. So you could probably adjust the gearing a little bit and probably not. It touches the frame, it touches the trans, it touches everything. But it's in there with the factory gearing. My initial reaction to this setup is, yes, it is very smooth on the bottom end. But I'm used to running everything on 4S. So I miss the punch and I miss the wheel speed. It needs to be 4S for me, and then I might like it. But as for now, it's not going to be replacing any of my brush motor setups. So there's my reaction to it. Is it simple? Yeah. Was it easy to set up? Yeah. But the wires on it are hella long, and it's not 4S capable, and that's what I run. So I miss the wheel speed and I miss the power, yeah. Body posts are back ordered till July or August. You just need these? Is this all you needing, or are you needing the actual like these mount things? Which part are you needing? Because I haven't used any of those from either of the two kits that I have. So I may be able to get you set up with those. Yeah, 4S and wait for the smoke. Yeah. I wish it was 4S. That's ridiculous. Like, I run 4S on everything now, so the thought of even putting a 3S pack in a comp truck to me just doesn't do it for me. Oh, you need the mounts. Let me see how many of these I have. 1, 2, 3, 4. I might have enough of these to get you set up, I'm going to use 2 of them on this Oracle. I'm using the cross brace one in the rear, and then I was using 2 of these small ones in the front on the insides of the shock towers up here. So I know I at least have 2 of these left, but let me see if I have 4 of them. If I have 4 of them, that would probably get you taken care of. I have 4 of them on the table here, but I'm going to be using 2 of them on this. So let me dig through my parts. Where's that box at? I'll have to find the other SCX10 Pro box that I have. Yeah. Dear Charlie, please be updating the firmware and specs to appease the 4S folks. Absolutely. I need 4S in my life. Almost ready for 6S, if I'm honest. So, DM you on these posts. You'll have to DM me because I will forget. Would that chassis work easily with a 10.3 Gladiator, or what do you suggest? No, I don't have any chassis that work easily with a 10.3 Gladiator. Most of the parts in that Gladiator you would be tossing. You would use the axles and drive shafts, and wheels and tires, maybe the shocks. Otherwise, any of our chassis would work with your axles and shocks and whatnot. Be cool if Brazen made aluminum ones. There's really no reason for me to make aluminum ones because K&K already has aluminum single post mounts, which if I can't find these and you can't find them anywhere else, just get on Team K&K and get the single screw bolt-on aluminum ones and be done with it. Famous last words, where is it? Well, the one box is over my head right there. That's the box that these just came out of. The other box is over there underneath my metal masher. I see it. So I'll have to look in that box later after the stream and see if I can find them. So anyway, I'm not entirely sure what Wesley's doing tonight. Probably packaging chassis and blowing the stream off here. Didn't want to hang out with us tonight, so you guys just get me. Yeah, David, like I said, the transmission on those is just really big, and it's not what most people are running for comp stuff. Look at you, you are organized. No, absolutely not. Far from it. And I need to be better about that because I have a lot of crap. Ben sent me a picture of his hobby room the other day, and it looks about like my workbench is doing here. It's getting to the point where I really need to start. I need to dump everything out of all the bins and boxes and stuff and start over. I need to sweep the floor, just dump everything on the floor, and start over. And I have a big trash can next to me because a lot of it would go straight in the trash. A lot of old parts. I'm sure there's at least 2 or 3 SCX-10-1s worth of parts in random boxes and bins and all kinds of stuff. It happens fast. Just send you my bench also. And man, like I said, it happens really, really fast around here because I'm constantly building stuff and constantly swapping parts from one truck to another to test and prototype and do whatever. So I end up with piles of random hardware, and I end up with piles of random parts trees and shit like this, and random, partially assembled chassis and stock rails and parts of transmissions and motor mounts and brass wheel weights and skid plates, and it gets real bad real fast. That's all within 6 inches of my arms where they're resting on the tables. So it's getting real bad. Here's another There's a whole SCX10 Pro transmission where the part's still in the bags on the bench here too that I need to do something with. But yeah, anyway. The new high-low we released on Friday, and we released a whole bunch of different parts with them. Those of you that are regulars to the stream know about all that stuff. Perfect for the garage sale section, yep. So we released some sliders, aluminum sliders, which are bent like this. There was two different versions of them. A version that sat horizontal with the like the rocker panel sat horizontal to the ground, and then there were some that were 10-degree angled. Those sold really well. The high-lows sold really well, and for once I finally actually had enough carbon fiber ordered on hand to not sell out immediately. I think there's still 4 or 5 carbon 2023 high-lows on the site right now, which is surprising. Pro skids did sell out, but I made more. Mini skids are back on the site. Those are selling good too. So we had a really, really good weekend, and I'm really happy about it. So this week is all restock and reset. Good morning from Melbourne. Nice. Welcome to the shit show, because that's what we got going on tonight. At least I'm actually in the shop tonight, and we're not doing this from the road again like last week. So, I am back on the computer this time, so if anybody's watching this video after the live stream, you will have, or you should have, the live chat, which is different, because if I'm using my phone when me and Wesley are on here, then for whatever reason the live chat doesn't pop up. So, cleaned my hobby room and have no idea how many cow RC mats I had covered in parts and screws. Yeah. I don't even own any of those mats anymore because that's exactly what happened. Got my mullet today, super stoked. One thing though, everything but the Pro skid. Thanks for the plate and stickers. The skid plate is on its way separately, so you should have gotten 2 tracking numbers in the email. So you should be able to see that. Did you drill the skids correctly? I did. Yeah, I did. And I still have about 65 of the bad ones on the bench over there, just staring me down. But what I did do for myself was I ordered some M3.5 screws. Oh, I got a new knife. Hiya! This is surely to send me to the hospital if I cut myself, because it uses scalpel blades. Got this from Grit Knives. Pretty cool. Very sharp. Anyway, I ordered some M3.5 screws so that I can re-drill and re-tap the sides of those skid plates. I'm only going to drill and tap this depth, and then I will run the set screws through the links and be able to bolt the skid to the chassis still with M3.5 screws, which will hold the set screws for the links in place so I can still use them for my shit. It's not something that I would sell to customers, probably not even in the garage sale section, but at least I can have 10 years worth of skid plates sitting on the bench over there. So, yeah, hopefully I can at least use a couple of them. Received my mini skid today, thank you. High-low's very close to coming alive. Glad it made it out there in reasonable time. I think that was the first mini skid I shipped out of this batch, so other people should be getting theirs pretty soon too. I will be haunted forever by that goof. It's that's a big one. That's the most expensive goof I've ever had from anything. Like working on customer motorcycles and everything. Like I've never wrecked or dropped a customer's motorcycle. I've never had anything that really cost me any money. That, you know, there's been little scratches on stuff I've had to pay to get stuff buffed or whatever, but that skid plate oof was a big oof. Means you have to build 65 trucks, and that sounds like a lot, but in reality it's not that much. And what I thought about doing is I have like a bazillion prototype chassis and a bunch of like revisional, you know what I mean? Like, oh crap, I forgot to move this hole. Well, okay, I'll do that on the next one. So I've got like a bunch of different revisions and a bunch of different chassis. I thought about just bolting a skid plate to them and hanging them up in the shop here or something, or doing something else with them, so I could burn up quite a few of them that way too. And I wouldn't even have to drill them that way. I would just stick screws in them and call them a day. Glue them in or something. Yeah, skids come from me, and Wes had the other stuff. That's exactly why yours is coming in 2 different shipments. So, but yeah, you should have tracking numbers for both of those, Toby. If not, let me know. I'll get you set up. But I know I already shipped that out. That went out on, I think, Thursday. So you should have that pretty soon. I almost forgot to close this. I set it down on the bench and didn't even think about it. So yeah, this is sure to send you to the hospital for stitches. Hey Paul, what's going on? We lost Wesley for the day. We lost your buddy. But it's okay. I'm in the shop and you guys have my full attention now. I might try to make some new scales for this, because this was the only color they had in stock, and I'm not a huge fan of like natural G10. They're just regular G10 knife scales. They're just cut G10. So I may cut some carbon scales or something and make this knife a little bit more personalized. I'm just not a fan of the natural. But it was the only one that they had and I wanted it, so. Very stiff detent and very fast opening. And it is reasonably easy to get the blade off of. Just kind of gotta pop it out of the groove and try not to slice your finger off. God, yeah. Back shortly, dinner prep time. I already ran and grabbed dinner, so I don't have to deal with that, but we'll see you when you get back. Anyway, back to the high-low stuff. So all that stuff should be all shipped tomorrow. All the high-low stuff from all the order should be tomorrow. Got my full party mullet and my Oracle comes tomorrow. What trans would you recommend into the full party? Depends on what axles you're going to run, but I mean, you could run standard 3 gear, you can run a deluxe trans, you can run the Exo Alpinist or whatever one of those you want to run. And just standard normal transmission setups. It doesn't take anything special. What kind of knife is it again? This is a Grit Knives Hunter's Scalpel is what it's called. 5 Guys grabbing dinner now. I think I've only ever had 5 Guys. I'm not sure I've ever actually eaten at 5 Guys. There's one right up the road here, but I don't think I've ever been there because it's at the mall and I don't like going to the mall. I did say 3 gear, but it wouldn't be my first choice, but it would work. If it were, my full party is going to get a deluxe portal trans because it's going to have F10 portals under it. So that's what I'm just going to run the non-overdrive deluxe portal trans. I think. It depends on if it fits with my behind the axle steering, because I'm going to do a Boco behind the axle servo mount on it, like I did on my Class 3 truck. Oh, speaking of Class 3, reminded me of Class 2. Class 2 ECC was just won by a high-low. Zach Cantrell won ECC. Class 2 with a high-low. And one of our team drivers got 4th in Class 3. with a mullet. Basically class 2 build. And also won one of the little cash comps. So that was pretty cool. You guys did really well down there. Very, very happy about that. It's nice to see some big wins from you guys. I really like that. What's up, gorgeous? Thanks. Oh, you know, just another night in the shop. Bubbly is terrible when it's warm. Just an FYI. I didn't have anything in my mini fridge at the shop. This was sitting in the case on the floor. I hadn't put them in the fridge yet. Bad idea. I think I'd rather not have anything to drink than a warm bubbly. It's pretty bad. Split between Axial AR-45 straight or Phoenix portals. I'm considering the TGH 2.0. You're going full party and running a 2 low. I would probably run F10 portals. What tire size are you going to run? If you're going to run class 1 size tires, I would go F10 portals. If you're going to run class 2 size tires, I would go with the straight axles. That's what I would do anyway. But 2.0 absolutely will fit in that chassis setup with the Pro Skid. I'll pass on that knife. I nearly always bleed when working X-Acto blades at home. Not cut myself using them at work. Yeah. And like I said, it's sure to send you for stitches. But the nice thing is, if you did really get yourself good, it'd be easy for them to stitch it up because it'd be a nice, clean, very deep cut. Probably all the way to the bone. You wouldn't really have to worry about being a jagged cut or missing any skin. It just would just right through. It's terrible cold. Bubbly's not that bad cold, but it has to be very cold. Like half cold and warm definitely is not my thing. Pretty bad. I also have a warm squirt. And I think I might have made the wrong choice by picking the bubbly over the squirt. Probably should have just gone with squirt. I feel like I need to move that camera back away from me because you can't see anything like 10 inches above the workbench. Like there's a truck sitting in front of me, you can't even see it. Class 2 truck, gone. So, TGH, Wesley was talking about potentially making it out there to see you guys for the event here in a couple of weeks. He was considering it the other night. He was messaging me asking if I had any information about it. I told him to get a hold of you guys. Who knows if he'll actually go or not, but he was kicking the idea around. He's got some extra PTO time at work that he didn't know he had, so he might make the trip out to Colorado. We'll see what happens, but like I said, he was kicking it around on, I think, Thursday night. So I don't think Josh should get a knife like that either. No, he probably shouldn't get a knife like this. It would he'd certainly end up with one less finger. I think it would just take his fingers clean off. I'm not sure I really like, I just don't like the color, but like the G10, I don't hate the G10, I just don't like the color of the G10. It's, I don't know, just raw, natural G10. Not my favorite. Not my favorite at all. So, but the next truck I'm going to be building this week is my full party, so I will let you guys know on Monday next week what I end up going with as far as axles and transmissions and whatnot. I do have these F10 straight axles set up here that I'm either going to run these or I'm going to run the portals. I have a set of F10 portals here also. They don't have leafs on them yet, but I have the mounts and I have the axles, so we'll see next Monday what I decided to go with. I haven't completely made up my mind yet. I bet if you send him one, he'll cut himself before mail call is over. More than likely. Maybe I should send him one just to see what happens. No, then Nicole will send me the medical bill or something from his stitches. Or he'll never open a mail call thing from me ever again. Speaking of mail call, I did, if any of you guys that ordered on Friday, I did get a whole bag of Mega Sours in, so I'm going to throw Mega Sour candies in with you guys' orders from over the weekend. So you'll have to let me know what you guys think of those. I know a couple of you guys have had them before, but they are very, very, very sour. Like, Warheads are nothing compared to these Mega Sours. If we ain't going on a road trip, I'm going elsewhere. Why don't you take a road trip, Rob? You can come out here and plop down on a chair next to me. I'll still be live streaming by the time you get here. Send him one. It'd be an awesome Friday. He hasn't used the X-Acto blade knife that I sent him in a couple of weeks, so I'm wondering if he lost it. I lost mine. I have no idea where the hell it went. It's probably on one of my workbenches around here somewhere, but I have no freaking clue where that one went. It's only, it's such a small little X-Acto blade knife that it just disappears. It either got washed in one of my pants pockets and my wife has it sitting somewhere. I should probably check the little bowl thing above the dryer. It might be in there. Either that or it's on one of my workbenches here somewhere. I'm at work, or I gladly would. Well, if you're watching me on YouTube, you're probably not working very hard. Nicole would send you his severed fingers. I bet I could sell them on eBay. Make a decent amount of money selling severed fingers on eBay. We'll see if he chimes in on the chat, and we'll talk to him about his severed fingers that he doesn't even know about yet. Where'd that fusion setup go? Here it is. So, yeah, you guys tell me what you think about the fusion setups. I am just not... Like, I don't hate it, but it certainly doesn't have the woo-pow that my Holmes stuff has. And not being 4S capable really is the nail in the coffin for me on this. I'm probably not going to leave this in here for Axial Fest. I thought I was going to and just run it, but I will have to buy... This is the only 3S battery I have left, and it doesn't even have a label on it anymore because I've used it so much, but I'm pretty sure that it was like 800 milliamp or something like that, so it doesn't run for very long. So I'd have to buy new batteries just to continue running a motor that I'm not super happy with. Be my luck today. I snuck out at work. I got called in. Yeah. Not gonna discuss how hard I'm working right now. Just slow. Yeah. This is just slow. Trail riding, I love the Fusion. Composite isn't enough. Yeah, the wheel speed wasn't enough. Wouldn't use it in a copper rig. I do have one on a stock TRX4. Okay, so like, the thing about these trucks is though, like, that was one of the first questions that a bunch of people were asking, was if this damn Fusion setup would fit. And I feel the same way about it, that like it's a perfect trail setup, or could be a perfect trail setup, but these trucks are meant to be comp trucks. So why are we building them like trail trucks? I don't know. I mean, Wyatt runs a Spectrum motor in his, but I've never used one of those either, so maybe the Spectrum version is a bit spicier than this one. I don't know. Maybe I'll order a Spectrum one too and just compare them. I don't know. But for anybody coming to Axial Fest Badlands, I will have the Oracle and the Pace Setter, both RTR for everybody. Grab a controller and drive them. I'll take them with me out to the quarry and You can just run them for a battery pack or whatever and get the feel for them. I don't understand. I don't understand either. We'll see. I don't know. I'm just not sold on it. Like my brushed Holmes motors, exactly. I like my spicy little Puller 400, 13 turns on 4S, and they're teeny tiny. The fact that you can run 4S on this and get 3x the wheel speed out of a motor that's 45% the size, just I don't understand why people want the Fusions. 75% of the people aren't running route comps though. They may do local or backyard comps, but they aren't doing real comps. True. Drove my Pro for the first time this weekend, and I've decided Wyatt is a good driver. Wyatt is a very good driver. However, the Pro is a good base truck, but I'm sure Wyatt's isn't box stock either. So I like the 2-in-1 Pro, but I agree needs to be 4S. Cheap? It's not cheap. It's $150. That's not cheap at all. Most people out there don't know real power in their crawlers. So I'm wondering if people who are used to non-rebuildable, standard RTR type brushed motors, if that's what they think when they hear brushed motor. Because this little brushed motor will damn near smoke these tires with wheel speed. But it will also crawl as slow as that Fusion Pro. Which I will give that Fusion Pro that accolade, is that it is very, very smooth on the bottom end. And you can just turn the throttle up on your radio to where it just starts to spin the motor, and it will stay there. It won't cog or anything. And it's smooth, but that's about where my accolades stop with it. Is it comparable to a BR Mini and a Puller 400? Or it is comparable. Yeah, it is comparable to a Puller 400 and a BR Mini. That's why I'm going to stick to my Puller 400 and BR Mini setups. SE is $80. So what's the difference, and maybe I need to do a little bit of research, what the difference is between the SE and the Pro. To see why there's that big of a price gap, because half the price is quite a big difference. Can't beat a hand-wound brush motor. I agree. Don't understand 2-in-1 setups. If something fails, now you're replacing everything. That's true. That's not serviceable. You can't really shorten the wires without doing a whole bunch of dillying around, and there's a whole lot of wire included. Like you can put the power switch at the rear bumper if you wanted to. What brushed motor is in your hand? In my Class 1 comp truck is the Holmes Hobbies Puller 400. And it is teeny tiny. I don't have, here's a 540 can motor. So you can kind of see, it's hard to show the difference between those two motors on camera. The Puller 400 is a, going to be real hard to measure this. Can't really get my calipers anywhere in there to measure this motor size. Sorry. I was going to tell you, but we'll call it 32 millimeter diameter, and the 540 motor is 37. So it's quite a bit smaller in diameter. Most newer drivers and RTR guys get so quickly brainwashed into a brushless is the only way and don't even know what quality brush setups can do. That could be it also. I don't know. I can't get behind the Fusion motor for whatever reason. It's like a TV VCR combo. Do you not like revolvers? I don't have a problem with the revolvers. My problem as of late has been the speed controls. I've been having issues with multiple different brands of speed control with the brushless or with the revolvers. I was running the Holmes Crawlmaster V1s, and I burned up a couple of those, which we all knew they all had issues. Then I ran a couple of the Holmes Crawlmaster V2s, and I had much better luck with those, but I did end up burning them up. Again, I run 4S on everything and reasonably spicy motors. Damn it. Oh, there it is. And then I was running the HK Hobbies STFU, which is on the bench somewhere over here, right here. This was the last setup with it, was the HK Hobbies STFU and a 1800 revolver. And this is a fantastic setup, but I just like my Polar 400s. Is it on 3S? These can run 3S. You can run 2S, 3S, 4S, 6S, whatever you want to run with these Polar 400s. Try to Sidewinder 4. No, because I don't like the size. That's my issue. I don't want to run a big ESC. I mean, I've got a Holmes BLE Pro or whatever in a bin over there. I could run that if I wanted to, but I don't want a large ESC. So, I don't know. I will just stick to my tried and true Polar 400s. Ryan, Pilot Ryan Media, do you guys have the Spectrum 2-in-1 in the shop? I just got back in town. I haven't made it up there to see you yet. But do you have the 2-in-1 in the shop? Brett, you need to put me in touch with a hobby shop guy your way. Really like to talk about an event. Well, he's in the chat right here. Rob, Pilot Ryan Media is the owner of Fun Park now. So he's right there in the chat. You guys can get together. Or I can message you on Facebook or whatever and get you in touch with him. But tried the Crawlmaster Magnum. I have not tried the Magnum motors. I've got a Polar Stubby brushless, and that's about the biggest Holmes motor I've got. I don't even know where it's at. It was on the bench here somewhere. It might still be, but who knows. There's too much shit on the bench. I can't find it. I think that Wesley and I have also made, just seeing this skid plate sitting here, I think we have made the decision to forego the Traxxas TRX4 compatible with Traxxas TRX4 transmission skid plates. I don't know. They don't. The setup with our current chassis makes it difficult to run that transmission anymore. That was like a 4-year ago thing, and so the newer chassis setups just don't accommodate that very well. So I think we're gonna ex-nay that. Plus, it's not a big seller anyway now with the TRX4 anymore. I do think so. If not the combo, I have the individual pieces. I thought you did. I thought that when I bought the first Pro, I thought you had the 2-in-1 there, which probably wouldn't still be there, but if not, I'll look. I'll come up there someday this week and talk to you about it. Magnum's a killer motor. I actually prefer it a little over the 400s, but I also use my motor as weight differential. They're much heavier. Yeah, the Magnum is a bigger motor. Bigger and heavier. I find that I don't like nearly as much front weight bias as some people do. I normally balance the truck right at the front of the skid plate. So like I'll take my driver and put it on the workbench, and then right at the front of the skid, dead center of the skid, is normally where I try to balance the truck at. And I don't know, this truck doesn't have wheels and tires in it, so it's not going to balance, but that's how I set my trucks up, is to where it'll balance right on the front of the skid. I've got a few TRX4s that I'm needing a reason to rip apart. Don't rip them apart. Either keep them as trail trucks or sell them to somebody that wants a trail truck and build something else. TRX4s aren't competitive enough anyway. Like if you're trying to comp a TRX4, it's not gonna go well for you. I promise you. You won't see a single TRX4 component truck on any national podium, especially not the axles. That being said, I do have a set of axles if anybody needs TRX4 axles. I've got a complete TRX4 somewhere around here in pieces that I need to part out and get rid of. Need corner scales. What do I need corner scales for? If I can balance my truck on a 1.5 millimeter driver on the center front of the skid, I don't need corner scales. I have the truck completely pointed out, and then I balance it right on the front center of the skid. I think this truck is weighted a little farther forward than the front of the skid. In fact, I'm like 98% sure it is. And I'm on a table that is rusty underneath. The only thing I like about the TRX4 is the rear locker disconnect, and that doesn't do anything for me either. I just run more overdrive and a lot of steering angle. Extra steering angle and an extra overdrive will accomplish the same thing, or close enough to it. I'm trying to balance this truck while I look at the chat and talk. When's that purple carbon fiber option dropping? I don't plan on that. The problem with that purple carbon fiber is it's not like it's not actually carbon fiber. It's called e-glass. So it's a carbon fiber core, to where you have carbon fiber in the center, and then you have a dyed fiberglass layer on the outside. And that dyed fiberglass layer is an absolute pain in the ass to cut and clean, and it makes a big mess. And I just don't like cleaning it up, and I don't like doing it. So it's not in the plans right now. If I were like other manufacturers and just had China cut my stuff for me, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I don't do that, so I don't like it. This table not being level is really messing with me here. At least that's my excuse anyway. Trying to get this truck balanced on this driver on live. What chassis would you recommend for a Class 3 build around a VFD twin? Again, I don't think the VFD twin would be the transmission I would choose, because it's too complicated and it's too big. If you are stuck on a VFD twin and that is your only transmission that you are even interested in attempting to run, I would choose the ATL Pro V2. That'll be the chassis that will allow the skid plate to fit the easiest. That's what Harley used last year for his Nationals Class 2 and Class 3 truck, and it worked pretty well for him. However, like I said, that transmission is huge, and it has a lot going on. Oh my god, hey. Corner scales! No corner scales. I don't want corner scales. I like balancing my trucks. This table is it's an old fabrication table, and it's been around for many generations, and it's no longer flat or square. It's like a, let me measure it real quick. Two-inch thick solid steel bench top on big, red wrought iron, angle iron base on casters. It weighs like a lot, so it works really well for being a very heavy duty table. However, it's been beat to death over the last 50 or 60 years, and no one's taken care of it for a while. But now that I've got it, it sits in an air-conditioned shop, so it's getting babied now. Sorry for the late attendance. Oh, you're good. You're good. It's just me tonight. It might be a shorter night tonight. I didn't get a whole lot of sleep over the weekend, being out of town and in a strange bed that's not my bed, and pillows that weren't my pillows, and that is kind of annoying sometimes. Aha! Okay. I balanced it. Hang on. I don't know if moving that camera back helped at all. Nope, sure didn't. Can I do this? There you go. Balanced on a driver equals no sleep. It absolutely does equal no sleep at all. Move that over. Nobody needs to see my stack of McMaster catalogs. A little more. Down. Hey, okay. So, here's my Class 1 truck balanced on a, this is a 3/32 driver, but it's balanced on there nonetheless. That equals no sleep. Yes, it does equal no sleep, and I was at a brewery also, so that equals not a whole lot of sleep either. That's what it is. Do that with an MIP driver. No, the MIP drivers are round on the end. You gotta use the dynamite drivers. They're nice and flat, except I use mine as hammers to tap pins and whatever else in. So they aren't exactly flat on the bottom anymore either. See, who needs corner scales? You just balance your truck on the workbench like this. This truck is fully pointed and an RTR minus a battery right now, so and it is dead ass in the center line of where the front links attach at the skid, and dead in the center of the skid. So at least you got some sleep. The pressure tank line burst and got a lot of things water damaged. I guess I'm confused. I must have missed something. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. Do you make custom wraps? I had an idea inspired by your Sorka rules. Use the exploded view of the trans axles and maybe shocks from different manuals, Axial, Vanquish, or others. I absolutely could. It's not a bad idea. I would need to know what you want, like for a background or anything like that, to go with those pictures. But good evening, everyone. Just have a minute to pop in tonight. Received my skids today. Thank you for the awesome customer service. No problem, man. Sorry the first one took forever to get there. It's pretty comical that they both arrived on the same day, since one of them was shipped 3 weeks ago and the other one was shipped 4 days ago, and they both arrived the same day. That's what happens. Have an Exo Alpinus trans in my C3 high-low. Yeah, that seems to be a decent trans that a lot of people are running. Out here saving people hundreds of dollars on corner scales. Definitely don't need scales. Can you spin the truck? Can you spin the truck on your corner scales? I'm gonna try because I'm curious. However, if it lands on the computer and the live stream goes away, I'm not restarting the live stream. So, if this fails terribly, is what it is. However, I'm here to entertain. I am going to slide some shit out of the way that's underneath it. Piles of hardware that I don't want to launch somewhere. Truck looks killer. Thank you. Oh, I thought it was going to go there for a second. It spun a little bit, and now the driver, oh shit, now the driver is stabbed into my interior. When you said you got little sleep, I was saying I got little sleep because a water line burst. Oh, okay, gotcha. It's like balancing the Eagle toy on your finger as a kid and spinning it around. Yeah, but it's a lot more expensive than the Eagle toy. Picked up a deluxe hamburger trans for my mullet. Any rear drive shaft suggestions? The deluxe cut to length. That's what I would run. Yeah, I almost got it spun around there. It just, I think it has to do with this table I'm using, so. But you can't spin a truck on corner scales either. So there's that. Now I gotta dilly dick around and getting it back on balance, because that was kind of cool. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it now. It's a very fine point where it actually balances. Gotta find the balance point of the driver too. Got a BR Mini finally. Good. My favorite ESC is a BR Mini. Alright, I'm done. I'm done pissing with that. That was fun while it lasted, till we had to knock it off of there. I like my BR Minis. They're very easy to set up, very easy to run. Very, very small. This one is mounted to the slider, but I normally can get them tucked in underneath the front of the skid. I should put a pinhole in the skid so customers can use your method. That's not a bad idea. Curious, you an Outrunner kind of guy? If so, what's your preferred silent ESC? We just talked about that a little bit ago, and I'm not a big Outrunner fan. I don't know. It just seems overcomplicated to me. I've tried the two different versions of the Holmes ESC. I've got the HK Hobbies STFU ESC. I've tried. Man, what's the guy's name that was selling the AM32s that were they're wrapped in the 18650 cellophane stuff, the different designs on them. I tried one of those for a little bit. That wasn't nearly smooth enough for me in the transition between low speed and regular. He kept saying it was a gearing issue, and And, you know, when, I don't know, I don't think it was a gearing issue because everything was set up. I told him exactly what I had, and it wasn't smooth enough for me. So, this setup is very smooth, and it seems to be reliable so far. But I don't want to risk an issue in a comp. So I stick to my brushed motors for comp trucks. Silent Assassin, Silent Assassin is the deluxe one, isn't it? Got a Holmes Expert 13-turn motor till I can get the motor you use or the Pro. It'll work. It'll work. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Silent Assassin is what Deluxe calls theirs, but there's a Josh Newman, that's his name. Whatever he's calling his, I tried one of his and it worked. It just wasn't smooth enough for me, and I didn't have a programmer, and I didn't feel like pissing with trying to reprogram it myself, so I got rid of it. I sold it with my Capra Sporty to a guy a local guy. I'm not even sure he's even driven it since I sold it to him. So that's my opinion on Outrunner type motors. I see that there are a couple of censored Outrunner motors now, or at least one censored Outrunner motor now, and that may be something worth looking into. But again, the ESCs haven't been reliable enough for me in the size that I want. Josh's is a Silent Assassin. What does Deluxe call theirs, though? I think my Tekin FXR and Holmes 13-turn will find its way in my ATL Pro. Good setup. It's been a long time since I've seen anyone running an FXR. I used to burn up FXRs like every week, and so did Wesley, because everything around here had water, and FXRs didn't like water very much. This was before we knew what conformal coating was, and we're trying to plasti dip them and shit like that, and it just still wasn't enough. I got a drive shaft pin about to come out, U-joint pin on an incision shaft. It's interesting. Haven't had that. Have the original Holmes revolver that was censored. Why did he not continue doing that? I try not to play in water. Yeah, I don't play in the water very much either anymore. Although my course here has a waterfall in it. It's a waterfall and a pond at the bottom, but I keep a cover over the pond at the bottom because it's deep enough to lose a truck in. Tried the Holmes Crawlmaster Mini V2, best ESC I've had with an Outrunner by far. Running on 4S. Sorry to make you repeat a topic. No, repeating topics are fine. That's what I do every week, because I don't have enough to talk about for 2 hours, so we repeat stuff. I did have a Crawlmaster Mini V2, and that ESC on 4S lasted me the longest. I think I had it for 8 or 9 months on 4S only. I never ran it on anything less than 4S. And I plugged it in one day, and as soon as I went to take off, like I barely gave it any throttle at all, the BEC popped in it. Okay, no big deal, whatever. I hooked up an external BEC and I kept going with it, and it ran for another 3 or 4 weeks, and then a MOSFET went. So I don't think I sent that one back to John. I might have sent it back to John just for him to look at, but it was well out of any type of warranty period, so I didn't really care about that. But anyway, I did like that ESC more than any of the other ones I've tried. This HK Hobbies one seems pretty good too. So, I have an FXR and a Punk RC Dig switch in my XR still. Nice. Suppressor. Oh, okay. Deluxe calls theirs a suppressor, and Josh calls his a Silent Assassin. Okay. Can't wait to get a forward motor mount and T-case for my C3 and a better motor and ESC for my C3. You switched your C2 over to forward motor mount, didn't you, Braden? Stay out of water and mud. Exactly. Half my winch controllers are FXRs and the rest are BR minis. I run direct power, so I don't have to do that. Deluxe is a suppressor. Got it. Paul, you're missing a lot. Try any hand-wound motor and you'll never go back. The sports are great motors for bashing. I never had any luck with my sport motors. And if I'm honest, I never really had any good luck with the expert motors either. This 13-turn expert has probably 15 or 20 minutes on it, and either the brushes don't make good contact or something, but this thing smokes every single time I plug it into something. But I have had buddies with these motors that last years, so who knows. I've never had an issue with my Puller 400 or Puller 500 motors either, so that's why I run those. My FXR is bridged to a second FXR. One was for the motor, the second one operates the winch. That sounds like a whole lot of pissing around. That's why I just have a direct power servo winch that has its own little controller, and I don't even have to think about it. Just plug it in and run it. Yep. Favorite motors lately have been 550 Chromemaster Sports. What am I missing out by not spending 100 plus? Well, what these guys are saying, it's super, super, super smooth on the bottom end, and you still have a ton of wheel speed. Especially if you're going, I always get the 13-turn XX motors, which the XX is just, it's a thicker wire that wrapped around the armature, so you can get better power delivery out of it. So you get it's basically like a 2-speed. It crawls on the bottom really smooth, but it has a ton of wheel speed still. Direct power is the way to go. Yeah, I don't have anything that's not direct. The only thing I have that is not direct power now is the well, no, never mind, it is direct power. I forgot. The Holmes Little Tugger servo winch. It is direct power. I thought it wasn't, but it is. Yes, I did switch my C2 to forward motor mount. That's what I thought. You got the Squints forward motor mount. It's not hard to use. First, you have tons of them that won't die from the old days. Yeah, like I said, I had a bunch of them, but I burned up most of them in the water back in the day. Gotta run, catch the rest of this after family time. Hell yeah, man. Thanks for checking in. Stronger magnetic field with the XX. Yep, more power delivery, better smooth low-end power, and more power. I like them. That's why I run the XX. But it is, I get it. It is an expensive motor. It's, what, like $145 or something like that retail. So, my motor is basically the same price as a Fusion setup, and you're getting a receiver and a speed control and a motor with the Fusion setup, but this is a much, much, much faster motor. Late, but I made it. How's it going there? It's going just fine here by myself tonight, so the comment section is keeping me moving tonight. I didn't have a whole lot to talk about, if I'm honest, and I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to have enough to go off of, and I still may not. I still may have to cut this a little short tonight, but we'll see. Hand wound and balanced, that is another good point. They are nicely balanced, they are hand wound, and they are high quality magnets and stuff like that. Like it so far. Now I'm pointed out with the extra spare for Crawler Canyon and play down in Troy, Illinois. You're pointed out Crawler Canyon rules, like Crawler Canyon points, not Sorka, correct? I've had good luck with all the Holmes motors so far. I like my Fusion Pros, but Holmes Revolver is tons of power. Exactly. Rifling off the comments, high roller style. I'm just glad the comment section's actually moving tonight. Otherwise, this would have been a absolute bust, and I would have been at home, drinking a beer, watching TV by now. Opinions on the Brood brushed motors. He's relatively close up in near Seattle. I have zero experience with Brood motors. I don't believe that I have ever driven a Brood motor. So I can't help you there. What length screws do you recommend for the DSM? Normally like 12 millimeter, but the Panhard mount with when you put the nuts on the inside, 12 millimeter may just get into the nylon. 12 millimeter, you'll be fine. Yeah, 12 millimeter. Maybe 10 millimeter for the rest of the screws and 12 for the Panhard mount. This is one of the best lives. I try to hit it every week. Phew, I don't know about all that, but I appreciate the comment. If this is one of the best lives you get to watch, maybe you need to live a little more. China. What's China? Brood Motors China? Eddie makes good stuff. I've heard good things about the Brood motors. Austin from Corrupt Carbon Works, that's all he runs. And he even stocks and sells them, so he obviously stands behind those motors, and I trust Austin's opinion on stuff like that. So I mean, if I ever felt the need to veer from my home stuff, it could potentially lead me down that path, purely based off of peers who support the stuff. So I do watch Harley, and come on, I appreciate it, man. I really do. I'm just trying to waste my Monday evenings and have a little fun at the same time. Our YouTube channel isn't monetized at all, so this is just getting to talk to people and getting to hang out and getting to show you guys some of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and keeping you guys up to date on what's going on, and showing you guys things early before they get released. And I think it's fun just to hang out and talk. I remember Eddie from back in the 90s and 2000 racing days. Yeah, that's what he used to do, all the roar racing and all that stuff, didn't he? So, I mean, like I said, I don't have any personal experience with it, but I know that there are people that I respect in the hobby that do like them. So I try and come every week. Appreciate it. We do get quite a few. I obviously keep track of the comments, and we get some new faces in here all the time. So how are the wheels coming? Wheels are coming along. I had to pause on the wheels. I paused on the wheels because of the big skid plate debacle, and then I paused on the wheels because I had some other jobs that were scheduled for the lathe, so I had to take the tooling out of the lathe for the wheels, and now I just need to set it back up. And then we released the mullets, and then we released the high-lows, and it's hard to tame the madness, I guess, sometimes. Like Friday night's drop, obviously my wife knows everything that goes on, so we were out to dinner at a brewery on Friday night, and when we were on our way out of town, I had her set an alarm on her phone for 8:58, so that I could get online and change the visibility on stuff on the website. So then her alarm went off, so I changed the visibility of all the stuff, and then the sales start rolling in, and you guys were savages with the order volume, to the point where our waitress at one point was at the table taking our order, and she kept looking down at my phone every time it would light up, and I'm like, it was truly insane. And the more things we put on the website at the same time, the crazier it gets. Like the first wheel drop, the very first set of or batch of wheels that we put on the website sold out in like 9 minutes, and that took me like a month and a half to make them. So like it's pretty wild. And then releasing a bunch of things all at the same time where I'm trying to like tame that down a little bit because it is overwhelming a little bit. Anyway, dinner time back in a bit. I'm trying to get ready to try a black jacket, or getting ready to try a black jacket. Any opinions on it? I have not used any of the Three Brothers stuff. I'm a Holmes team driver, so I don't usually venture outside of Holmes. I've been a Holmes customer for 15 years, and I've never felt the need to venture away. So that's just where I'm at with it. John takes good care of me. Sometimes the customer service end of things does take a little longer because he's got employees and employees suck. But otherwise, they always take care of everything that I need, so I haven't felt the need to bounce away. 36 or so points for Crawler Canyon, just not Sorka. Yeah, but those 36 Crawler Canyon points are probably 40 to 43, I would say, Sorka points, if you really pointed out your truck. High-low accessories were long awaited. Yeah, they really were. But again, it was, just trying to strategically get things on the site get things on the site at the right time, really. Oops, your phone shuts off and it drops to 0%. Who knew? Back. Yeah, you gotta charge your phone to keep them on. Sorry, just a little late. Jason, you were here earlier, so late doesn't count. But with the high-low accessories on the site, the sliders all sold. Well, there are still a couple in stock. They sold really well. The servo winch mount and the other brace got. I sold out of the carbon ones, but there are a couple of aluminum ones left. And as far as the chassis go, there's a couple of carbon and a few aluminum still on the site. But I've got 9 sheets of carbon fiber over there, and they are all spoken for with carbon high-lows right now. So that's really cool. I'm happy about that. It's also with no interior inner fenders too, or drivers. Yeah, so if you did a custom interior and 2 drivers and a interior cage, you're looking at another like 20 points. So you're fine with your points there. I'm only back into RC 5 months. Found Holmes on here, and his stuff is so nice. Haven't looked at anything else since. And that's kind of, it's all high quality stuff. I'm not saying that that Three Brothers or Brood or any of those aren't high quality, but I just have never had a reason to go elsewhere from Holmes. And maybe I'm missing something, but this Fusion is the first non-Holmes motor I've ordered in a long time, and I'm not super stoked about it. Just the way it is. What's my go-to servo? I like the Holmes SHV 500 V3. It's stupid fast. My C1 has the 500 V3 in it. I think my C2 has the 800. No, my C2 has the SHV 650 in it, and it works really well too. But I like the SHV 500 V3s, personally. Might try craft foam or try doing something like Josh's interior on his 911. Those two ideas are so drastically far apart that I'm not even sure what to suggest there for you, bud. Craft foam is very forgiving, where Josh's interior is all 3D designed and cut on CNC router and carbon fiber, and so I would go craft foam. Yeah, the 800 is badass too. Yeah, my Class 3 truck that I sold. Yeah, my Class 3 truck that I sold had an 800 in the front and it had a 500 LP in the rear. And I think I ran an 800 last year in Class 2 also. It might even have been the same servo that I just swapped over to my C3. But I haven't had any failures of gears or bearings in the 500 V3s. And I have had failures in other brand servos with gears and bearings. So again, I found a servo that I couldn't break, and I stick with it. My only complaint about the 500 V3 is that it is noisy compared to an 800. The 650 is much quieter, but the 800 is quiet. I've been impressed by the Shift XB servo lately. Granted, I'm young into this, but the price is really nice. A couple of my team drivers are Shift team drivers, and I have obviously been around and comped with a lot of those guys that run the Shift stuff, and none of them have any issues with that stuff either. I was very impressed at Axial Fest last year. One of my team drivers, Josh, had a Shift servo winch in his UMG 6x6, and I was trying to climb an absolute vertical wall with my SCX6, and it was like probably a 30 to 36 inch vertical wall with my SCX6, and he hooked his Shift XLP, I think it was, servo winch to my SCX24 and literally drug it up a vertical wall. That was very impressive, because the SCX6 wasn't doing anything to climb that vertical wall, but that servo winch just drug that damn thing up there. I was just mind blown. I'm like, that thing ain't gonna do anything. Sure as shit, it drug it right up there. I want to try 4S on C2 and C3. C3 is getting a Micro X2. I might get a home servo for C1. I recommend 4S on everything. Can't kill a ProTech 370 TBL. I have a ProTech 370 TBL in my bomber, and I think I have stripped and broken 5 or 6 servo horns, and the servo itself is not damaged, which is, again, also pretty damn impressive. If I weren't running a home servo, the ProTech 170 and 370 TBLs are also fantastic servos for the price. Had a 650 with a jitter issue, and they swapped it out real quick for me. Yeah, so my 650, I got my 650 before they were released to the public, and we found some of the jittering issues, and it was wiring related. So mine, I got rid of that bypass Y adapter thing and direct soldered stuff, and it's never glitched since. So my Class 2 servo has modified wiring. I know there are 2 way different ways. I want to try and design some stuff. Can't wait to try an inner bed made for C2 and 3. Yeah, Josh's interior, I'm not that good at designing 3D, so I don't think I could even attempt to tackle that stuff. I could probably make it happen, but it ain't gonna be pretty. XLP is badass. We're on the XLP in 3 comp trucks, so wicked fast and strong. The speed of the XLP doesn't hold a candle to the Holmes, the old internal spool Holmes. Damn it, what's it called? Mine's a prototype. It doesn't even have any laser etching on it. Progress winch, whatever I think it was. I've got the fast gear set and I run it on 4S. This freaking winch will rip your fingers off before you even realize you're clicking the button. So I've seen Wes torture test a 370 TBL for a couple years. Bought one as soon as I had the funds. Saltwater hasn't killed it either. Yeah, Wesley runs 370s in just about everything. I've had direct 3S to a 370 TBL for over 5 years. That's news to me. I guess I never even thought that they would handle 3S. Just make a decent buck and I can vacuum form them for you. Then I have to make stuff. Tug Buddy. No, the Tug Buddy is the external spool winch. This is the internal spool fast guy. I think it was Progress Winch, I think is what they called it. Or Team Garage Hack called it Progress Winch, I think. I don't know. They haven't been made in a couple years, and it's my favorite servo winch, and I'm just praying that the 4 or 5 I have don't die. That's the one you did with TGH. Yes. Yep. It's a fantastic servo winch. I wish the controller was a little smaller, because it is pretty big. You can see it's stuck to the side of the servo winch there. Pretty big controller for such a little servo winch, but that's what you have to have when you're running 4S capable, direct power, and all the speed. The controller had to be a little bigger for heat reasons, I believe. But I think this one that's in my Class 1 and the one that's in my Class 2 were both pre-release with no laser etching on them, so it was the Progress winch. I thought they called it the same thing, but I wasn't 100% sure. Ben, are you doing anything with KMS winches still, or no? Have you not had time to do that? Be interested in trying a KMS. Ugh, that's bad. Now it's almost flat and warm. Ugh. Take another drink of it just to torture myself. Ugh. 11 inches a second at 4S fast gear set. Damn. Yeah, this, I don't remember what the specs were on these, but it's dumb. Dumb fast. I don't think I have a 4S battery charged right now, otherwise I would show you, because these things are silly. It can absolutely startle you though. Any fast winch or a fast gear set winch, you better practice with that damn thing before you go to a comp, because if you're not ready for a fast winch and you know, if you got the front end butted up against something and you hit a fast winch, it'll, you know, jerk the truck sideways or upside down before you can even think about what happened. So you gotta practice and play with the fast winches. Haven't had time to do my own stuff. Maybe someday when, well, you know. Yeah, I know. Call me, Ben. Call me. Yeah, I would be interested in trying a KMS, especially if you could get free spool stuff on it too, because I like that idea for trail truck stuff. I'm not sure that I'd care for free spool on a comp truck, but trail truck stuff, absolutely. I can't wait for Axial Fest. We're 3 weeks, 4 weeks, just about 4 weeks out from Axial Fest Badlands. I'm getting excited for that. I'm gonna take both of my SCX-10 Pros. I'm gonna take my SCX-6, my 1.9 Wraith, my Class 1 truck, and my Class 2 truck, even though they won't pass tech. But I'm going to go out in the park, in the regular park, in my 1-to-1, and also I'll just go over to the other side of the quarry and play with my comp trucks outside of Axial Fest event property that they've rented or whatever. So
they won't be able to say anything. Although they passed my comp trucks last year, but I'm not even going to bother with it now. So, need practice winching. Winching is one of those things that the guys who are good at it, it's because they practice it and they do it. Guys that are good with geometry, really, you're looking at angles to see where you should put the winch stick, or if you're using a land anchor, where to put the land anchor, where to hook the line on your truck to make the truck go where you want it to go, and stay where you need it to stay. That's the other thing with these type of winches, is there wasn't very much holding power. So in a pendulum setup, you had to be pretty quick, because if you were trying to hover a gate and you winched up, you winch the wheel off the ground and you start driving to hover the gate, that winch is spooling out on its own because there was no brake to it. So you had to pay attention to that as well. You had to be, the winch was fast and you had to drive fast to hover a gate, which makes it a pain in the ass. I need to get a different winch for all three classes. The winch, like I said, man, picking a winch can be difficult. Finally got to run that Holmes motor you got for me. I like it. Also burned up a winch. What winch did you have? You had just like a regular RC 4-wheel drive winch, didn't you? KMS is the only internal spool I'll run. He brought it to us, so I'll always support him. Yep. I don't like external spool winches at all anyway, so I don't really, regardless of brand, I don't like external spool winches. I think I still have a whole sheet of green tech stickers. I'll look for them for you. Well, but they'll be for last year. So I still have tech stickers from last year too on, where's the, here. This is the windshield from my class 2 for last year. There's still tech stickers on it. Yes, that's on my bench too, still from over the winter when I built a new truck. Something I don't do any of. That right there, that's things I need to learn. Yeah, it's just, it takes practice and it takes time, and the guys who win comps are good at winching. And the guys who win comps are good at making split-second decisions. Winching is an art. If there's a winch gate in each course, if there isn't a winch gate in each course, it's too easy. I agree to a point. I think that if there's a gate that every single driver has to winch, that is even remotely difficult for them to winch, then it may be a little too difficult of a course. However, like Crawlapalooza last year, I didn't even think about pulling winch on any gate on any course, and like even just looking at the course, I didn't see any gates that I wanted to winch. But looking around, watching people run, there were a lot of people pulling winch. So there will always be people who are going to have to winch gates, whether they were easy or not. But I think if there's a gate that every single driver has to winch, it shouldn't be in the course. It's just me. Momentary is a must with a fast winch, absolutely. Any South Bend or Elkhart comps that you've heard of this summer? Nope. There's nowhere to comp here, so gotta go to Illinois to Crawler Canyon, or you gotta go to Grand Rapids to Reaction, or you gotta go to down to Indianapolis to Abner Longley Park. BR Mini with Holmes hold for pendulum winching. Yeah, depending on the winch you're running. I can't run that setup with this winch, so winch I have is only 3S capable. Well, time for a different winch. They don't really check. I know they don't check, but like, I don't want to be that guy either. You know what I mean? Like, I like bending rules. I don't like breaking them. Roadrunner and Ninja winches. I've heard a lot of good things about the Ninja winches also, but I haven't tried any of those either. Converted an old Savix servo into a winch. That sounds noisy. I can hear it from here. Before I got into home stuff, I had Savix servos, and I never broke a Savix. They were noisy as hell, but I never broke one. So, that was nice. Most winches are brushed motors. They will handle whatever the winch controller will handle. BR Mini will take 4S and run a winch. That is also correct. Most servo winches, most winches are brushed motors. A lot of servos now are going brushless, but a lot of them are just regular brushed motors. So you run a different speed control to control it, and they'll handle whatever you throw at them. It's just like a Power Wheels car. You get a 6-volt Power Wheels car for your kid, throw a 12-volt battery in it, and give her all she'll suffer till the motor burns up. Hard winch or take a gate. That's too difficult of a course, because these trucks are already capable of much more than a 1-to-1 counterpart. I'm not saying that you should have 4 or 5 drivers with perfect course runs and time be the differentiating factor between first and fourth place. Not saying that at all, but these trucks are way more capable than what a 1-to-1 would be. So if you have winch gates, it would be impossible for a 1-to-1 in the same situation. I at least try a gate first before grabbing a winch. It's usually my last ditch effort. Now, like at Nationals or at ECC or whatever, there were gates where I pulled up to them, or when I walked them, I walked up to it and went, okay, I'm going to pull up to this line, and I'm going to give it 3 or 4 seconds max of tire spin, and if it bounces, or if it rolls off, or if it slides back, I'm pulling winch immediately. And there's a lot of gates that are like that, and that to me is perfectly acceptable. But there were guys that drove some of the gates that I winched, and there were gates that I drove that other people winched. So it just, I don't know. I'm just not on board with having. Not that I wouldn't run the course. I absolutely would still run the course. But I don't know. Savix servos are so loud. They are. I like to pair my Savix servos with Outrunner motors for the most noise. Let me play you the song of my people. Savix servos and Outrunners. I threw a 4S 11,000 milliamp in my son's Power Wheels Jeep. I need to upgrade my kids' Power Wheels. I've got a Milwaukee M18 adapter on my other bench over there. I need to hook that up and bring home some M18 batteries. Any advice on starting a scale crawler company business, bumpers and fab work? So, my suggestion is be original. That is number one. First and foremost, be original. If you have to copy what other people are doing, you're not as good as you think you are. However, bumpers and fabrication, there are a lot of. There's a couple different ways you can go about it. So like Scalar Fab does absolutely fantastic. They sell a mess of bumpers, but they're all just, normal type bumpers. If you're going to be building bumpers for comp type people, then you need to you're going to need to create like a form or something for the customers to fill out with, like the width of the chassis outside to outside, the width of the bumper that they want it to be, the offset from the frame to the top, you know what I mean? So like if the body hangs down below the frame rail, you can't have the bumper stick straight out. So a lot of that custom fab stuff is very difficult to do over the internet. But it is work that a lot of people need done because a lot of people can't solder, a lot of people can't weld. So it is a very good idea, I think, but you have to start very organized first, and also you got to put in the time, man. It doesn't happen overnight. Wesley and I have been doing this since 2013, basically. So we're 10 years in now, and I'm extremely thankful that I basically get to do this as a full-time job now. Wesley still has a full-time job and does this on the side, but I've gotten myself to the point now where I can do it full-time. But that's been 10 years now. So it does take a lot of time. Now to decide what winch to get for him. Yeah, every gate should be drivable with skill, and that's what I think, man. If you're a top tier driver, and there's gates on the course that no one can make, it's too hard. It's one of the reasons the indoor course is hard at Crawler Canyon. You don't think you need a winch till it's too late. The indoor course at Crawler Canyon, you are absolutely going to winch. I've only been there a few times for comps, but there hasn't been a single comp that I've seen somebody drive the whole course. There's so much vertical height gain and loss because they have to for depth. The course is only 8 feet deep, but it's also 5 feet tall. So the elevation changes very steep, very quick. As a course builder at national level, testing someone's winching skill is part of the game. It's a must. I don't know. Can't forget the sound kits. Gross. I won't even trail drive with people with sound kits anymore. That shit drives me bonkers. We make the loud Outrunner guys drive 8 to 10 feet behind our regular crawling group. It's not a bad option. Message myself or any of the small vendors, and they'll gladly help you learn from their mistakes. Yeah, Wesley and I have made quite a few mistakes over the years. And if you're new to the channel, if you're new to the lives, I made a mistake a couple of weeks ago and I ruined $4,000 worth of skid plates. Not my finest moment, but it happens, and you just learn a lesson from it, and you go, well, shit, nothing I can do about it now. Luckily, not very many of them left, but anyway, unless you're Lucas Klein. Lucas still winches too. He's got winches on all his trucks. I see it. So, yeah. Yep. You got just with the custom fab stuff, you'll have to get very specific information from the customers on what they are expecting to receive. My metal masher truck, the fabrication of this cage and bed work took 4 months to get back. Which is absolutely fine with me. I'm not complaining at all about the time frame, but we talked extensively. We probably had 65 or 70 messages back and forth about how I wanted things to look and how he was building things like the sliders and the hood hinges and the grill mounting and things like that. So you're going to have a lot of time invested in talking and messaging back and forth with people, and you're going to need to take that into consideration too with your pricing, because your time is very valuable. Time, the only thing I have to sell is time. Materials are just material costs. The only thing I have to sell is time. The time during my day that I'm machining, the time that I'm packaging orders, the time that I'm messaging back and forth with people, it's all time that's for sale. And you only have so much of it to sell. Put that truck away before I damage it, because I don't want to damage it before it gets to Scale Builders Guild. Whew. What do we got? About another 20 minutes? We can make it another 20 minutes. Ugh. I gotta finish this bubbly. Gross. Nope. That's bad. I don't recommend. 2 out of 10. Do not recommend. This is about as fancy as I got with 3D printing. Designing the inside of the bed. inside of the drop bed. And even that print took 4 hours, 5 hours, and I hated it. I hated waiting for that. You doing a show next Monday with the holiday? Maybe. I haven't decided yet. I'll probably be here at the shop anyway, so might as well. Must be warm. Assuming you mean the temperature. Yeah, we actually, this week is going to be in the upper 70s and low 80s all week with no rain. Oh, you're talking about the bubbly. Yes, it's absolutely warm. It's fucking gross. I hate it. Tastes better with cheap vodka. Yeah. Customer service is probably 80% of your time when doing custom. That I would 100% agree with that. Yeah. The amount of time you're going to be messaging back and forth is going to be a lot. What does the machine behind make? That is a CNC lathe. It's a dual spindle, which means they have a spindle on the front end and a spindle on the back end. And then the tooling up here has live tooling also, so it can drill and mill and cross drill and cross mill and do all that stuff. So this machine's main purpose was to make wheels. The reason I spent 6 figures worth of money was to make RC car wheels for you guys. I also make a lot of parts for a local implement manufacturer. He makes skid steer grapples and rippers and shit like that for excavators and skid steers. So I make a lot of pins and bushings for him for that. And then there's other companies that I make parts for. So just basically anything that a lathe will make. And then on the end of the lathe over here is called a bar feeder. So you load raw stock, bar stock in the back of that, and it feeds it into the machine on its own. What winch would you recommend? I'm kind of on a budget. Man, I guess look into the Ninja winches. I'm not sure if they're 4S capable or not, but maybe try looking into the Ninja winches. The other winch that I was curious about before I got this Holmes winch, or right when the Holmes winch was coming out, was the Boom Racing winch. But I don't know if that's 4S capable either. Yeah. Let me know. I'm off. I'll run out. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you know. Like I said, I'll probably be here anyway. Probably not all day, but I'll probably be here anyway. So we'll see. Why not? I'll be here. Yeah. Maybe. On a budget, buy a spool and convert an RTR servo, or run it off an old ESC. I mean, if you don't care about if you want to run an external spool, if you don't mind external spools, the Holmes Tug Buddy winch is a good option. But I much prefer internal spools. Do you like to run much caster on your rigs? I've been playing around with it and still debating. I personally run quite a bit of caster. I just do. The front end of this, with the caster that it has, steers very far, and it's just the way I've always ran my trucks. So I prefer, like Ben says, 15 plus degrees of caster. Plus Metal Masher has years perfecting what he does. So I've been following and watching Metal Masher's builds since way back in the RC Crawler days. There was like a freaking 100-page long thread of his super scale Toyota build, and that got me hooked. And that reading through that build thread, I messaged Blake one day and I'm like, hey man, I need you to make me a body. I just want the body with the drop bed and the tailgate. I don't need the interior. I don't need the inner fenders. I don't need the under the the firewall and the floor and all that stuff. And he was like, man, I can make you one, but it's going to be like 6 months, 8 months, whatever. I was like, okay. And he never told me a price. We never discussed any of that. But like once a month, I would message him and go, hey man, just letting you know I'm still interested. And he would message me back, yep, your name's on the list, you're still 5 months or whatever. And this went on and on and on and on and on. Until it was finally, it'd been 6 months. And I messaged him again. I said, "Hey man, I'm just saying I'm still interested." And he goes, "Well, I'll tell you what. I just finished one for myself, but I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna build something different. So here's the price for this truck." And I went, "Whew, that's spicy." But I'd been waiting for 6 months, and no one else can build them like he does. I certainly can't. And so I just immediately paid him. I didn't even try to haggle with him or anything. And I got the body. I loved it. Like 2 months later, I messaged him again. I'm like, "Hey, put me on the list for another one. Again, just let me know when it's done." And he did, sure as shit, let me know when it was done. And that's how at this point, I can basically get a body from Blake pretty quick. So, but the cage work took a little while to get done. Suggestion for new RC company. If making parts for other brands, read Traxxas's trademark usage guidelines so there aren't any company doesn't come after you for trademark infringement. Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to learn copyright or trademark laws, but if you're going to use another brand's name in your description or in the name of your part, you probably ought to read some copyright trademark laws. A lot of the guys who's got their website shut down by Traxxas the last, what was that, a month and a half ago, it was just simple wording. But got the full party and was wondering what's a hard body mount slider option for the chassis. Appreciate your help. Can't wait to get this leafer on the rocks. I don't have any hard body mount sliders. I would probably figure out some sort of a hinge mount. If I was going to run a hard body, I would hinge the rear of it, and then I would use some sort of a clip in the front. You could drill a hole in the dual servo mount, either in the front. Like Wesley drilled a hole directly into the front of his dual servo mount, and then in the front of his body he runs a screw directly in through the front of the body with a nut on the back side of it. So when he goes to put the body on, he like pulls out on the body and sticks it down, and it pops into the dual servo mount, and then the back of the body's hinged. So it works out pretty well that way too, and everything's hidden. We've got 30 pieces of cat equipment, so we go through a ton of pins and bushings. I just finished some cat pins and bushings. Here's one of the big bushings. This still needs to get a grease zerk drilled into it, but this is one of the bushings. And then the pin, I'm not even going to grab that big ass bar of material. These are 3-inch OD and 2-inch 1.97 ID. So that's what that's for. Big. It's for a ripper on the back of a cat dozer. Might go to the winch like you're running. Well, you can't buy these winches that I'm running anymore unless you can find somebody that has one used, unfortunately. Just stay on the list. Exactly. That's exactly what I do. He was still sitting on the corner of the construction barn finishing it at BTC. I'm sure he was. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, he didn't turn into Mattzilla. I recognize it's apples to oranges, but still. Yeah, Mattzilla's prices did get a little out of hand. Is what it is. UC Fab's prices are a little high too, but it does take a lot of time to do intricate fabrication like that. This cage and bed cage and this metal masher isn't anything like what Mattzilla or UC Fab is building, so I can't really compare those two. But the prices aren't anywhere near the same either. So, yeah. He really was. I was talking with him while he was doing it. I'm sure he was. Yeah. I'm not mad about it either. He actually he gave me a free grill. I shipped it without a grill and it came back with one. So that's cool. Unless it's somebody else's grill and they're going to be pissed that they didn't get it back. But whatever, I don't really care. I'm going to take that truck as it sits in raw form to Axial Fest just to have on the table, but I'm going to put a do not touch sign close to it, and if anybody touches it, I'm going to scalpel their fingers off. Stay away from my truck. Because I'm going to have to. Crazy how times have changed. Yeah, I mean, so like to get a UC Fab, the Jesse Haynes Prickle chassis, I think it's like $1,000 now or something like that. But it's all hand fabricated, hand notched, stainless, and it's beautiful. You're not going to find a flaw in it. Not that there's really any visible or major flaws with this either, but it's also not a custom tube chassis either. So put it under glass. A glass box is a good idea. I think I have a plexiglass display box somewhere. 5-gallon fish tank turned upside down. That's probably not a bad idea either. So I'm gonna bring the blue Metal Masher truck with me also, so I could put the raw one like in a plexiglass or glass thing and put the beat up one on top of it, so people can. I don't care if people touch the beat up one, but yeah. High low on point in C3 at ECC. I got 7th, I think. So you got 7th, and then one of the Chafin brothers got 4th with his mullet. So high lows were working pretty good, and class 2 was won with a high low. So high lows cleaned up at ECC. I'm really, really happy, really proud of you guys that were running all that stuff. If I was going, I would touch it. I would let you touch it, Ben. I'll let you touch it. You got to rub my back first, though. Hey, if I wanted to send you a product I'm designing, how would I go about doing that? Like, if you wanted to send me the physical product you were designing, or you wanted to send me a picture of it or the file. If you want to send a picture or a file, you could email it to brazenscalerc@gmail.com. If you're wanting to send me a physical product, PM me or email brazenscalerc@gmail.com and I'll get you my address. 15th and C2 with the ATL. Nice. Like I said, man, you guys did really well. I'm bummed that I missed it this year. I'm bummed that I missed ECC this year. I really like Alabama. It's about a 12-hour drive for me, and it happened to fall on my mom's birthday and my wife's mom's birthday weekend, and we had plans out of town, and it just, plus the fact that they were running 2022 rules instead of 2023 rules, I couldn't make it happen. If it would have been 2023 rules and it would have been this coming weekend instead of last weekend, I absolutely would have been there. But it wasn't. It's not my choice. I argued with them about the 2023 rule set, but their minds were already made up by that point. I need to decide what to do with my VS410 and the high-low I have. I would drive the 410. I would just leave the 410 alone and drive it. The high-low, you need to put it back together. Plain and simple. Just build another truck. That's what I do. Just build another truck. And then put it on the shelf. And then build another truck and put it on the shelf. And then build another truck and put it on the shelf. Until you have... Okay, so... Within 3.5 feet of me, here's a Toyzuki V2 that I keep building and keep tearing apart because I put my favorite axles in it and then I need them for something else. Here's my Class 2 truck, my Class 1 truck, an SCX-10 Pro with our pace setter chassis, an SCX-10 Pro with an Oracle chassis, an Element Trail Walker with our shock hoops on it, just keep building trucks. That's all you have to do. And just they will pile up around you and you'll feel safe and cozy in your pile of trucks. 2022 rules, you can 5-point roll as far as you want. I thought you proved that wrong. They were flexible on rules. I even saw a battery mounted on the servo in C2. What? A battery mounted to the servo in C2? That's not okay. I'm going to need you to explain that to my wife, Brett. Well, so that's up to you. And if my wife is watching this, it's a business expense, honey. There's no body, wheels, tires, motor, ESCs, or servos for either. Well, it sounds like you gotta buy some parts. She thinks that's just plain crazy. I mean, it actually is. It actually is crazy. I have a problem. But it is a business expense. So that's the okay, so here there's a plus side to starting an RC business is that you get to buy toys like this and it's a business expense. Like, I have to have the newest, latest, greatest trucks that come out because I have to make parts for them. So I just swipe my business credit card and call it a day. Bring it back here and make parts for it. And then I don't claim nearly as much of it as I should. So, Mr. IRS man, if you're watching. You've answered before, but ATL Pro V2, Phoenix Portal axles, or VP straight axles for a C2-ish type build. Anytime you're building a C2, my opinion, anytime you're building a Class 2, it needs straight axles. Class 1, portals. Class 2, straight axles. Class 3, do whatever you want. But my personal Class 1s are portals, Class 2s are straight. 17 RTRs in my room, probably 10 chassis waiting to be built. I don't even want to go there. I don't even know what the total number of cars is. I don't. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fully RTR trucks within 3 feet of me, and a plethora of other ones. A lot of business expenses. Well, yeah. I don't want to pay the tax man any more than I have to pay the tax man, so I spend my money on fun stuff. Traveling for events is also business expense. It is. And all of the camping, all of the airplane fees, all of the fuel driving to events, all of the rental cars, all of it, it's all business expenses. So it all helps at the end of the year when you're paying taxes. So like I said, I would much rather have fun with my business money than to pay the tax man with my business money. Have you seen a GFX chassis? They're very different, look like a monster truck chassis. I think I have, but I didn't pay a whole lot of attention. There's only certain other chassis vendors that I actually, that's going to sound really bad. There's only a couple of other chassis vendors that I really pay attention to. Not that the smaller chassis vendors don't offer nice stuff, but not that they don't deserve any attention be paid to them, but there are so many now that it's hard to keep track of what's going on. Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, and been even longer than that. The number of chassis companies that have come and gone during our time of being vendors is astronomical, so it's almost to the point where I pay attention to the big, call it big four, and when a smaller company gets big enough to really get on my radar, then I start paying attention to it. But I know that sounds bad, but I only have so much attention span, and I use a lot of it here. Like I tell my wife, I need to have a sale, I start to panic and hide stuff. Yeah. How about straight front and portal rear for C2? That's what I run on my C2 high-low. I personally am not a mixed axle fan. I've talked to Ben about this a few times. Wesley likes doing the mixed axle stuff. I don't like dealing with the counter rotation of transmissions, and I don't like dealing with having to hog out the rear axle if you have to flip the gear set around. I don't know, it just seems like too much pissing around. And then the differential of gear ratios, then you have to calculate that into figuring out your overdrive and underdrive stuff, and that it just seems like too much to me, and I run my overdrive in the transfer case and call it a day. I'm at 15 RTRs and 4 to build trucks. Yeah, like I said, I don't even want to talk about that. Just got boxes of parts from the 90s. I've got parts from back then as well. Rob, you just won a raffle. So, Rob, if you're still in here, you won a raffle of some kind. Say it. There's only one chassis vendor I'll support. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. So Ben is in here. Toyzuki. We have worked with Ben since 2014, and I will absolutely support Ben in whatever's going on. I do own chassis from other vendors. You guys have seen them on here before. It's market research, really. I mean, I've got, just reaching across the bench here, here's a Team Garage Hack hog chassis. Here's a G-Speed V4. I have to do my due diligence and market research. But, so yeah, I just don't pay that much attention to others beyond that. Have 3 new in-box TLTs in the stash. That's a good stash. I like that. I like the sounds of that. Operation 11 Charlie raffle truck. You won the raffle truck? Nice. Can't wait to see the Operation 11 Charlie guys at Axial Fest Badlands. They're always fun to hang around. Javier and his crew, they're always cool to hang out with. They always do a pretty good raffle down there. They always have some pretty good. During the raffle, they always do speeches and stuff, and it's always really cool to have those guys down there. Have an ATL to build after Rocky Mountain Regional Championship, but I'm tempted to try to get a mullet. I think we have the full parties are all sold out, but I think the other mullets are available right now. Have Brazen and Northwest Scale Designs. He's local. Also helped him develop Scattergun V2 for the HPI chassis. I have not owned any Northwest Scale Designs stuff, but I have seen some of his stuff. Zuki Ford motor mount from a VS410 and Zuki transfer case in my ATL is a very solid setup. I agree. I have a Toyzuki Ford motor mount right here. Great setup. Been running them for 9 years. So, alright, well, it's after 10 o'clock. I need to get home. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I've been here since 7 a.m. and I'll be back here at 7 a.m. again tomorrow to continue cutting high-lows from Friday and Saturday. So if you ordered a high-low from us over the weekend, you should, by tomorrow afternoon at the latest, have tracking on that. And, realistically, any order from Friday or Saturday. I try to get everything out within like 3 business days, so today was business day 1. Everything should be out tomorrow afternoon. I feel pretty confident about that. I'm going to have to schedule UPS to pick the shit up because I'm not taking all them boxes to the UPS store. Not happening. So, get all that stuff out and check your emails if you have an order placed with us, and we'll get you your tracking info tomorrow. So, next week, Monday, pending still. We'll see. I'll make up my mind sometime this week whether we're going to do Monday next week because of the holiday or not. We probably will. There will be one Monday in June that I'll miss because I'll be in Florida with the family. But otherwise, I think we'll probably do next week. Right now, it's a 80% we're doing next week, but we'll see. So yeah, thanks everybody for stopping in and hanging out with us tonight. And appreciate all of you. Thanks for the comments, for keeping me moving tonight without Wesley. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.